What is up, everybody? This is your boy, Teran Rodriguez, host of Set Point here on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We have another one-on-one Zoom interview with the one, the only Mark Pavlik. Mark, how are you doing today?
I am just trying to get through the week before NCAAs here, but to be with you, that'll slow things down for me. So thank you.
No problem. And I know your time is pretty limited, so let's jump on into this interview like a cold pool. All right. So your team managed to win the EIVA tournament over a scrappy George Mason team, and you also beat Harvard in the semifinals. How difficult was the EIVA tournament as opposed to most people what they think?
Well, I think when you look at the EIVA tournament as a whole this year, I don't think many people would have ever expected a number 6 seed to beat a number 3 seed and to beat them 3-0. Nor do I think they would have expected a number 5 seed to beat a number 4 seed 3-0. So the EIVA is, the coaches in it are doing great things. We're getting better and better as a league. I think we're trying to make sure that what we do with the league, we professionalize it. We make sure that this is not a league that's looked at by other administrators as just a nice little playpen to throw our nice little boys volleyball team into it. It's a league that takes what we do for men's volleyball very seriously. We're just trying to get better, and I think you look at Jay, you look at Luke, you look at Danny and Sam and Brian, and boy, those are 5 guys that I would love to go to battle with. They're doing the right things for their program, and they're making sure that the decisions that are made at the league level is one that makes sure that the league gets better. So I think we're just going to continue to see the league grow. Our battles are going to become even more and more competitive than they are now. Looking forward to finally having a league where anybody can win on any given night.
Yeah, with Sacred Heart coming in, it's going to make everything more enticing. So
I think so. We'll see. I think the administration has, the Sacred Heart administration has some very grand ideas for what their men's volleyball program can do. And I think it's nice to have an administration join us that has that much enthusiasm and what they want to do with their men's program. So it should be a nice addition to the EIVA.
now looking at your team, John Kerr obviously had himself an amazing tournament. Toby Izionu also had a great tournament. Who are some other standouts in this tournament, and who are some unsung heroes that aided your team?
Well, I think you look at Koval and Valenzi and Merck and the passing that they've been doing all year long, and what they were able to do with our passing in the EIVA tournament certainly needs to be recognized. And then I think the biggest one was our first-year setter, Mike Schwob, handled himself fairly well. I think there was a little bit of nerves on the Thursday semifinal against Harvard, but that settled down. And, hey, when you're down 24-19, you come back to win that game, especially with a first-year guy serving, means a lot. And then Schwobe just continued that through the Mason match, where it seemed like whenever we were down and he went back to serve, he made things happen. So I think he was somebody that was very deserving of all tournament honors there.
Indeed, he was just serving up a storm for you all. All right, now looking at this week's matchup, you draw UC Irvine. You didn't play them this week, but you've played some of their opponents, primarily CSUN and Long Beach State. What's it going to take down UC Irvine, led by the Big West Conference Player of the Year, Halir Heno?
Yeah, outside of trying to order a pizza in his name to have him go pick it up in the middle of the match, I don't know if anybody's had great success in slowing him down. He's just such a very good server, very good attacker, plays the game really well. But again, I've said this to other people, if you go in just worrying about Heno, the other 5 will kill you. Cole Power is a great libero. You Seward can run the offense as well as anybody. I I think that this is going to be a great test, and I think that this is one where we're going to have to our passers are going to have to battle their servers, specifically Heno and Grigoriev, and just make sure that, hey, we get a chance to swing at the ball. And we'll see how they handle that, how we handle that, and the opportunities that we get, we can't let fritter away. We're going to get some opportunities, but we also know we're going to give some opportunities. And I think that's going to be the key to our game. Can we convert the majority of opportunities that we get?
Now, you have the familiarity of being in Long Beach as well as being in Southern California. What were some of your favorite memories when visiting Southern California earlier in the season?
Oh, we just had some great matches with Long Beach, Northridge, and SC and UCLA, and we had that opportunity to play at that level. I think it was very well worth it for us because these guys now know what their bodies are going to feel like after that cross-country trip. We've got to be ready to play on Tuesday. Hopefully we do a good job of being intentional about acclimating to the time change and just being out there and on the road. And I think those are probably the best things that we brought back from this spring break trip.
Teran Rodriguez of OATIIZ Sports Radio, host of Set Point, here with Mark Pavlik, Penn State men's volleyball coach. A couple more questions for you, and then I'll let you go because you've got a busy schedule. Penn State men's volleyball wins the national championship if they fill in the blank.
If we continue to pass and serve at a level that enables us to create opportunities, and then secondarily, making sure that we take advantage of those opportunities. If we pass and serve really well, but we can't close out a rally or we can't put balls away, all the good first and second contacts aren't going to matter much if we're just handing the ball back to the opponents. And I think that's got to be a biggie. We got to get the ball to Toby and Owen. Johnny Kerr has to be the guy that Johnny has been over the last certainly 6-7 weeks of the season. And what I've learned in a long time, that in these types of matches, your studs have to be studs. Your role players have to come up a little bit better than they've been all year long. And if that happens, you put yourself in a pretty good position to win sets. If you win enough sets, you win the match.
All right, for sure, for real this time. A couple more questions, and then I'll let you go. So, how exciting of a time is this for your team, and how bittersweet is this for your team, knowing that you've got a big senior class and a memorable senior class?
Well, the last 2 years, right? This year and last year. Last year we lost 9 guys. This year we're going to lose 5. So we have a turnover of close to 3/4 of the team in the last 2 years. And this group has been a very special group. You look at the 5 seniors in Snyder, Valenzi, Kerr, and Koval, and Snyder, Valenzi, Kerr, Koval, and Toby. How can I forget Toby? They've just been a joy to be in the gym with. They've worked extremely hard. They've never taken themselves so seriously that they couldn't laugh at each other, laugh at themselves. Mostly they laughed at me, but that I've taken it with broad shoulders here over my career. But I'm going to be sad that I don't get a chance to have the day-to-day contact with them that I've enjoyed over the last 4 years. So you're right. It is bittersweet, but hey, we're going to try to hang on to that for as many matches as we can potentially muster.
And then lastly, the old saying goes, if you get 1% better, you basically are getting better without a doubt. How could people like myself and you and anyone else in the world make NCAA men's volleyball at least 1% better? And what would you do to improve NCAA men's volleyball and men's volleyball to make it 1% better?
Well, I think number one, let's face it, this is the time of year when most of the general public the general public sporting eye turns to volleyball. Certainly men's volleyball. There's enough out there now that it'll come up on some news feeds. It'll come up in maybe some small articles in hometown newspapers about NCAA men's volleyball championship. I think we got to get it to where it resembles what other NCAA championships are like, where you have multiple regionals feeding into the next level, whether that's, a field of 64 going down to 32 or a field of 12 going down to 4. I think we've got to make ourselves more similar to what the general public looks at as a tournament. And I think that's something that we need to do. I think we've got to try to get off this idea of we're going to play multiple matches in a day outside of a semifinal day, because I'm not sure anybody else really does that anymore. Everybody's looking at, you look at basketball, the different regional sites. Yes, they will have regional semis where they play the same day, but you don't find more than 2 matches going on in any given day. I think we've got to find a way to get that similarity building the men's volleyball. So I think it starts with that. I think the other thing we've got to do is we've got to market the physicality of the men's game. I think, again, if you ask the general public, if they realize there's a difference in net height in the women's game and the men's game, I'm not so sure you're going to get a resounding 80% to say, yeah, we need that. And I think we got to make sure that people understand that the serves they're seeing, the physicality of them. Let's get a radar display up there that shows Heno serving the ball at 70 miles an hour. Let's make sure that we've got end zone views showing that the ball is moving more or less similar to a major league pitcher that can make the ball dance, especially in the serves. I think that we can't just do the same things that we do for televising the women's game. I think we've got to make sure we televise and stream the men's game with the idea that, hey, we're a physical level of play. And I hope that people smarter than me figure out those ways and we really celebrate the physicality of the men's game.
Beautifully said, Mark. As always, it's always great to connect with you and interview you. Any other shouts and thank yous you want to give out before we head on out?
No, thanks for doing this and keeping that message going, Teran. We'll look to see you in Long Beach on Tuesday.
Indeed, and I look forward to seeing you all. He's Mark Pavlik. I'm Teran Rodriguez. This is another one-on-one interview with an NCAA men's volleyball tournament team. I'll see you on the other side.